Black as night, erased as from our sight. White as light, mighty hectate, make it right.
I myself am strange and unusual.
Cast a circle, spark some incense, and grab a cup of tea, because it's time for the Cousins Coven podcast. I'm here with my cousins to discuss the weird, witchy, and paranormal.
Hey guys, this is Wendy. Welcome back to the Coven. Today we have a special guest, my lovely daughter Clarissa. Clarissa's a gamer, a YouTuber, and an overall wonderful person. Clarissa, thank you so much for being here today.
That was really generous. Hi.
Hey, welcome to the Coven.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This is exciting.
Yeah, we're excited to have you on. I know we have so many fun things to talk about.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm really excited today. Sharon, what's going on? How was your week?
My week was pretty good. I spent it diving into conspiracy theory videos and just getting all these new topic ideas, and my mind was just blown a couple times. It's like, you know, you've had a long week when flat earthers start to sound reasonable, and you're like, yeah, dude.
Yeah. That's so funny.
Right?
I know. I've been studying for our episode that's coming up after this one. Mm-hmm. And that one's really got my mind reeling. So I've just been like head diving into every little scenario that could possibly happen.
Yeah, it sounds like we're both in the rabbit hole right now.
Yeah. I'm having a really hard time coming out of it. And, you know, I've eaten both the red pill and the green pill at the same time while drinking the pink potion.
Right. I totally get it.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's all you can do.
That's right.
What about you guys? How was your week?
My week was good. Not much going on here. I do have one little story as we were setting up for today's episode. I have this little kind of caricature doll. She's not a doll. I guess she's like a figurine.
Yeah, she's a figurine.
Yeah. You know Wendy from
yeah.
Wendy's, you know, the restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
Fast food.
So years ago, probably when Clarissa was maybe 2 or 3, we were at
I'm 21 now.
Yeah. Shh. Don't tell people your age. Jeez, now they know how old I am.
God.
I'm just kidding. Okay, so I was at this thrift store and I saw this little Wendy caricature and I was like, I have to have that. She is Wendy. I'm Wendy. What could be better than this? And so I bought it and I've had it for a long time. She's kind of traveled around with me, and wherever I move, obviously she comes with me. And when we moved into the house that we're in now, I had a bunch of stuff packed away, and probably a couple of weeks ago I unpacked her, and so now she's in my office. But Clarissa and I were sitting here and I totally forgot that when my husband was going to college, he said that this little caricature, she'd be on the desk and he'd always have her facing away. For some reason, he didn't want her facing him. And she's would turn
creepy.
around. Her face and body would turn around.
Yeah. No, I don't like this.
So I took a picture of her before we started recording, and we'll see where she's at the end. But I was taunting her. Yeah, it's an experiment. We were taunting her with music, and I was like singing "Turn Around."
Yeah,
you know.
I love it.
Yeah, we're just hoping she'll turn around for us.
Yeah.
That'd be really creepy. I had this Happy Meal as a kid that really freaked me out. It was the Phoebus. Phoebus? I don't remember if that's his name. It was from Hunchback. It was the evil priest dude. I think Phoebus was the good guy. So anyway, he was this evil priest dude. He had like tiny little plastic legs, and he had like his little like black robes. And I remember looking up his robes at his little plastic butt and being like, hee hee hee, like playing with his legs in the car. And my sister Sarah, she'd be like, don't do that. He's not going to like that. And she was just like teasing me about it. And then like that night I had this horrible dream from the scene in the movie where he's singing that Hellfire song, and it's super creepy. And I just had a dream he was going to come after me. So I get being scared of tiny little fast food dolls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's going to be our next conspiracy theory, that the evil corporations are making evil voodoo dolls to watch us and control us.
Yeah. And to get us to buy their merch.
Yeah, but to be fair, Wendy's is my favorite.
I know. I know, right?
It's probably all because of that.
I do love Burger King.
Yeah.
It's all because of that.
Oh my God, Burger King's my favorite.
It's so crazy.
Oh my
It all
gosh,
makes
we
sense.
just created another conspiracy.
Blown wide open.
Yeah.
Right.
That's hilarious. Okay, so Claire, we had some questions for you. Sharon started off.
Yeah, so I mean, I imagine having Wendy as your mom, you were kind of exposed to like a magical way of thinking maybe at a young age, and I just wanted to know what's it like growing up in a magical household?
Yeah, I definitely was. I think watching TV shows really also, like Charmed and Buffy and all those wonderful Disney stuff of witches and like Halloween Town and stuff. I feel like that. And of course my family of being, or my mom. My mom was the only witchy person for a little while. But I mean, in my personal life, I feel like I always knew ghosts were real. It wasn't until like, I want to say in my teenage years that I really like got more into the witchy stuff. But it's been really cool because I always feel like I'm more open-minded. I guess that's very self-centered. And growing up in different households always like, you know, creates different things. So I feel like I am definitely like a magical girl, a magical
awesome.
Kid. And like, I always feel creative because of that. And I feel like it'll really spark, like, it's really sparked my interest in movies and all that kind of artistic things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what we could definitely relate to having pop culture influence you into getting into witchcraft. Like I know I've said it before in the podcast, but just the movie The Craft was the one that really got me into it. So just seeing those girls get into it and what kind of power they could have, you're just like, oh, I want that power.
Yeah.
That seems awesome.
And it's definitely, like, for me, I'm really grateful that I had my mom because she was, like, very, like, she helped me find the stuff that I was looking for. Like, she helped guide me through it all. When, like, I mean, I grew up in the era of, like, when internet was on the rise. So I did have the access to that, like, at a certain point later in life. Like, when I was 14, that's when I kind of, like, really got access to the internet.
That's awesome. So what drew you to witchcraft? Was there anything specifically you were into?
Not really. I just felt like it's like just always been who I was. Like I just always feel spiritual and connected with the earth. And like, I always remember being younger and like trying to make the trees move with my mind. I remember one time as a kid, we were at the waterfront park downtown Salem. And the trees were, I don't know, I had to say where I was, but like I was just explaining it was like a pretty place. And the trees are moving. I was like, okay, now the wind is going to blow now. And then like it blew.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, okay, you can stop now. And then it stopped. Then I was like, oh my gosh, you guys. But no one was around me. But like in my head, I was just like, this is it.
This is it.
Yeah.
This is the moment.
Yeah, and I just kept doing it. And I was just like, I feel something there. And so, yeah.
And you're being sort of modest. You're like really good with plants. So she has the greenest thumb. Like I kill plants and she rises them up from the grave.
We can't keep plants downstairs.
Near me where I'm taking care of them because they will die.
Yeah.
You just have to leave them alone, Wendy. Don't touch
I
them.
know. I'm so sorry.
Well, what happened was she wouldn't touch them enough, I think.
Maybe.
That sounds weird. Sorry.
You put it out there. You put it out there. This was not me this time, but for some reason.
Sorry.
It sounds like you guys have a lot of fun in your house.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you always kind of believed in ghosts. Was that something because you've witnessed ghosts or?
Yeah. I think I witnessed ghosts a few times when I was younger.
Ooh.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I remember when I was probably like 7, I saw ghosts in my bed. Or not like in my bed, but like I was like in bed and then they were like at the foot of my bed just watching me, which was really weird. I saw them and they were like fully there, fully apparitions, and I saw them and I was like, dang.
So were you not scared? Because you don't sound like you were very scared.
I think I was scared at first, but more like confused, and also like, I hope I'm not making this up. Because I've always had that doubt too, you know?
That's honestly one of my biggest fears. I can really freak myself out. Like if you're trying to sleep and you want to open your eyes because you just get the feeling like something's watching you. And to see something in the darkness has always been my biggest fear, like at the edge of my bed. So just last night, actually, I experienced this. I was like, is something there? And I like lift the blanket above my eyes and I'm like, ugh, like wincing. So I don't think I'd be prepared or calm in any situation to see a ghost at night.
See, for a long time, I was scared about that. And lately, or not lately, but for a long time, I've become more warmed up to it because I would see ghosts in my dreams. And that was like the only time they would contact me was in my dreams.
It's very subliminal, so they're kind of, like you said, you're getting used to the images of them. Is it the same ghost that you see in your dreams that you see in real life?
No, because it's just like it's such a spaced out time between each time of the dreams and like when it happens.
And are they communicating with you?
I think so. I mean, they always talk to me in my ear when I'm trying to go to sleep, and like in my dreams,
oh my gosh,
talk to me. And I think I try to help them. I don't know. It's like always, I can't remember it all the time, which sucks.
I love how you guys say things so casually that is like mind blowing. I'm just like, what?
Oh yeah, by the way, there was this one time.
Like, I'm just trying to put the pieces together. I'm like a step behind. I'm like, okay, what the hell do they look like? What do they sound like? What is it that you hear? Like, there's just so many questions I have when you say these things.
Well, they sound like, when I hear a ghost, it sounds like just a normal person. Like, okay, so remember I brought that Bible into the home. So I've been having stuff happen in my house. I didn't say that stuff couldn't come in, and there's, I guess, I know, but I think that's why I was supposed to have the Bible. Here I thought that there was some huge meaning behind the Bible, and I needed to get behind, I needed to dig up what was the purpose of having this Bible. And
like the history of it.
Yeah, the history of it, what's going on. But I think it was because there might have been something attached to it that's been watching me my whole life.
That's so creepy.
I'm getting kind of chills.
Yeah, me too.
Oh my gosh. Have you guys seen any kind of entity that you can identify as a person? Or?
I have, yeah. So the other night, I'm trying to go to sleep. My husband, I can hear him snoring already. Like his head hits the pillow. And he's out. And it usually takes me a while to fall asleep because I'll lay down and my brain's still thinking about all the stuff that I've done and all the stuff that I need to get done. And I'm making, because I'm a list person, I'm making lists in my head of all the stuff that I have to do. And so I'm just laying there thinking about mundane things. And then all of a sudden, I actually saw a black figure. It kind of like a shadow person. Yeah.
Yeah.
Walking from because we have a hallway in my bedroom. It's really weird. But I have this hallway in my bedroom, so I could see this black shadow coming from the hallway, going towards where I had the Bible laid down on the ground.
Oh my God.
Bent down, so kind of touched down towards it, and then stood up and walked towards me. I was like, am I really seeing this? And then it waved its hands in front of my eyes. Like, yes. And then, so the thing is, at first I'm like, am I just seeing this? I mean, it is dark in my room. But then the fact that I could see the hand reaching towards my face and feel almost this electricity as it's touching my face, then I knew that there was really a spirit there. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Are you feeling safe? Do you feel protected?
I feel protected. But I've been really drained this week. So this week, I feel constantly tired.
That worries me.
Yeah. So
I've actually been seeing things too. And I haven't really seen anything in this house. And I've only been seeing things more since we brought the Bible in.
Yeah. And what are you experiencing?
I'm just seeing I haven't really seen much actually lately, but since the Bible has been in the house, I've actually seen spirits, which hasn't happened to me in so long. So it was just white little blobs, just showing me where to go and what
orbs?
to do. Yeah, little orbs.
What? They give you instructions? You follow them in your house?
Yeah. It just helps me out. It's like they're guiding me.
What? That's so cool. Can you name an instance of when they did that? Yeah. What specifically did they show you?
It was more I saw a little girl outside my room, and she was upset that I had because we had these two little turtles that was sort of an offering for her, but I told.
Like a stuffed animal. Yeah. We have these little stuffed animal turtles.
So that she can play with, but I totally forgot because it's been so long so I moved them. And then...
So you've known this entity for a long time.
Yeah, so let's give a little backstory. This little girl has followed us to 3 different homes. And I've known about her. Her name is Anne. I've actually spoke with her, and I kind of know a little bit of her background. Like, she died when there was some sort of, not plague, but like something that happened in the 20s, I think. So whatever sickness was going around in the 20s, she died from that. And her parents lived on a farm in the spot that our apartments were at that time. And of course, her parents had passed on by the time we were living in those apartments, because obviously the apartments were there and her family's home wasn't. But yeah, so she's followed us. Because she's such a good entity and she needed family around her, I told her that she could come from place to place with us.
Oh
And
my
so
gosh.
she has. Yeah.
That's so crazy. So how long does an entity hang around? Like, does she just like phase in and out quickly?
She pops up like
Yeah,
every once in a while.
once in a while. She's not.
Wow.
I mean, I feel like she used to show herself a lot more, but in this house that we live at now, we've been here about 2 years, and she hasn't really shown herself that often here.
Yeah.
I've seen her like maybe a half a dozen times,
Well,
whereas before I would see her all the time.
Bible came into the house, and now I saw her more. I've
Yeah.
seen her a couple times
Okay.
now.
There's something that's like a catalyst about the Bible. What do you think that means if an object is drawing spirits out?
Energized, but since it came from that house, we got, so remember the house that I grew up in, and I talked about that last week, all the intricacies of that house. So it makes me think that maybe it was energized because we got that Bible when I lived in that house. So I don't know. It's all connected somehow. I just don't know how.
And so you were talking about turtles that you gave her, these little stuffed animals, a long time ago, and then you moved them?
Yeah, no, it was just like little stuffies. Like they're Chloe's toys, but sometimes I keep them there so that like she can play with them.
Right.
Or like if she wants to do anything. But like I moved them because I was like, what are these doing here?
Yeah. And for those people listening, Chloe is our dog.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
So she likes stuffed animals like most dogs do. And yeah.
And I hope that didn't seem like disrespectful of me. I'm just like super forgetful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she came and appeared to you, Anne?
Yeah. And it was just kind of like her little like saying that she's here. And then I think someone put a toy back there because I didn't. So a toy appeared in her little corner again.
Oh.
So I don't know if it was like her that brought it there or if like Chloe brought it there or someone.
Oh.
But
what toy are we talking
it
about?
was just the turtle again.
Oh.
But I threw the turtles downstairs.
Oh.
And then one of them appeared back in a spot up there.
Interesting. And so does she appear in orb form like you were mentioning and then become herself?
Yeah. It was like in a split second of
wow.
I saw her image.
Gotcha.
And then usually when I see her, but I think this just goes to the difference in abilities, is that when I see her, she's just usually a shadow and then into a person and then back into a shadow and then gone.
So okay. I didn't know that they could go from shadow person to like a full body apparition back.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's just energy. So, I mean, maybe I'm hoping that eventually we get to talk more in depth about shadow people so I can learn more about them.
Yes.
But I don't have a whole lot of experiences with them, just a little here and there. Of course, I say that and then stuff pops up. So who knows?
I just know what was said in Ghost Whisperer.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Yeah. Wow. That's really incredible. So the Bible is sparking stuff and you're not quite sure what it is, but you're just going to kind of let it do its thing?
I'm going to let it do its thing. I'm not, I need to know what it is, but I need to also wait and see what's going on. Like, I want to see how things progress. I don't want to push it away. I'm actually, because of the dreams that I had and because of the hypnosis section, which we'll kind of talk about later, but because of those things, I feel like I want to see this play out. There's a reason that this is happening. I don't want to push it away.
What's funny is I trust your instincts, but at the same time, I'm like, this is how all horror movies begin. Like,
I'm constantly protecting myself with protection spells, and I know that I'm really protected, and I have good spirits around me protecting me all of the time, so I'm not really worried. And I know my kids are protected, and my family is protected, so I'm not worried about...
You guys are in a good position to basically hang out with the paranormal and invite them.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys could set up cameras or start getting EVPs, but this sounds like a prime time for some ghost hunting.
Totally does. Maybe when
we've
it's
always
kind of,
thought about it, but it's always such a pricey thing to do.
Well, and I have some of the equipment. What's really difficult for me is that for years I've had these young kids, and now the kids are getting older. So I guess I could start getting into it because there's less noises, less chances of children coming in the middle of the night waking me up, you know.
Or just like filming the Bible at night. That'd be crazy.
So
wow.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see what else happens.
Yeah, me too. So we'll see how that progresses.
Yeah. What about like aliens? Would you believe in aliens, Clarissa?
I don't know who doesn't believe in aliens.
You'd be surprised, sadly.
To say that the world is, I mean, the galaxy, the universe, everything around us, there's so much possibility out there, and to say that aliens aren't real would be idiotic.
Yeah.
Yeah, the probability.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So do you think,
I do believe in them.
Do you believe that they visit Earth kind of thing?
Maybe. I feel like maybe they've been with us. Maybe they've walked on our Earth with us, but they certainly haven't like done anything too crazy, or if like our conspiracy government like has, you know, protected us from that, or if maybe they just don't care about us enough to, you know, deal with us, or maybe we're a social experiment for the aliens.
Maybe.
So that's why no one's landed.
And what about UFOs?
Oh yeah, I believe in. I've seen some. I'm pretty sure.
We actually have a story.
Okay, so tell us about that.
What about that time that we were driving down the road and we had that triangle one? Yeah, it was. Yeah. You want to tell it?
No.
Oh, do you want me to tell it? Oh my gosh. Okay, so here's the situation: is we had in our town, we're lucky enough to have this ghost hunting tour group, and so I had this opportunity to kind of volunteer with them a couple of times, and in return they gave us some free tickets, so we were able to go. And so I took my little kids out, and we went to this ghost hunting tour group. And afterwards, you know, because those go kind of late, so it was probably 11:30 on a Saturday night. We got finished and we were heading back home. And there's no traffic in Salem at 11:30 typically. So we're driving down the road. It's summertime, so it's warm, and we have the windows down. And then all of a sudden, there was this kind of weird shadow up above the car. And I stopped. The light was green, but I stopped in the middle of the road because I was like, what is going on? Something odd is going on. My skin felt prickly. I don't know how you felt.
I think I just like noticed it, and I was just like, what the heck?
Yeah, she said, what the heck? So I'm looking out the window, and there's this freaking triangle UFO up above our car.
Oh my gosh.
And it has a red light in the center of it. And I know that is also related to the military.
Yeah. But it was so long ago.
It was. So this was probably, how old do you think you were during that time?
I think I was probably 13.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because we were heading.
Okay. So she was probably 13. 14. Yeah. And so, so it was above the car, and I kid you not, it flew off, like at the speed of light. Like it was there 1 second, and then it flew off and was gone.
Dang.
And there was no sound. It was really crazy. My favorite part about it was then afterwards, for the next week, other people were seeing it too, and it was in the newspaper.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's so cool. I wonder if we can dig any of those up.
I wonder.
So it was the Oregonian?
It was, they had some in the Oregonian and some in the Statesman Journal.
Sounds great.
And there were other people in Salem who had saw the same thing around the same time. And so it was just going around all the South Salem area. But it made me think, was it the military craft? I mean, they could have been, and that's still a UFO. Just because it's the military doesn't mean it's not a UFO. You know what I mean? It's unidentified because it hasn't been released to the public. And so I do know now that there's a specific craft that is similar to that they have. And it's no different than all the things that they saw, with the Phoenix lights. They saw similar craft during that time as well. So I feel like it was a military craft, but at the same time, was it a military craft? We don't know that.
Right.
I mean, they never disclosed that to us.
Mm-hmm.
So
has that been the only time you guys have ever seen something like that?
I've actually seen like a stereotypical UFO in the sky one time. I think I was probably in 7th grade. I saw outside and I saw a stereotypical circled light that was switching between green and red and white and like bouncing around. Like I wish I could like show you a visual, but it was just like bouncing around in the sky. Was really, really fast, just zooming around.
Was it a silver craft or an orb type craft?
No, like I couldn't really see it. It was like the absence of
gotcha
color, and then there were the lights. That's like what I could really see was the lights just bouncing around.
That kind of sounds like a lot of UFO sightings.
Yeah.
And sometimes I've even heard and seen that they can just kind of become transparent and phase in and out.
Right. And I've seen a lot of videos like that. It makes me think of wormholes or I don't know. It's hard to grasp.
It seems like they have really good cloaking abilities, I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was moving so fast, like it couldn't have been anything else.
Right, because and you think about it, you're like, do we have that kind of technology? We might, but if we do, it's being hidden from us.
Which is then still another thing that should be questions, like why is it being hidden from us?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's still
that was a lot about like that unacknowledged documentary is that one of the main reasons they want to keep like alien existence hidden from us is because the technology would really change everything and we wouldn't be so reliant on like the oil companies and the government, and I don't know that we would all have resources and then therefore kind of like just change the power structures and power dynamics.
Right. And their hold on us to buy, spend.
Yeah. So it's possible that it is the government maybe using some sort of tech that they haven't shared with us.
Yeah.
Well, is there any other kind of crazy experiences you wanted to share? I'm sure you have a plethora, but any juicy things we're missing? Bigfoot.
Yeah, do you believe in Bigfoot? I don't even know if you believe in Bigfoot.
Oh, yeah, I believe in Bigfoot.
Yes!
Well, there are lots of people who disagree with us.
I mean, he's a creature. Why can't he exist? I believe in him.
Good. So cryptozoology is something that you would believe in, like the different...
Oh, yeah. Cryptids, yeah. They're my... husbands.
Oh, your husbandos.
Yeah.
Mothman is bae.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else we should talk about before we move on to the cauldron?
No, I mean, unless you had other things. Okay. No, you're good? Okay. Okay, so let's bring out the cauldron and see what we have inside.
Do I get to pick it?
Yeah, if you want. Go for it. She's going to pick a cauldron topic here.
Okay.
All right.
Current moon phase.
Oh, what is a current moon phase?
We just had a full moon, didn't we?
We just had the full moon at Thanksgiving, and I know when this airs, it's going to be, the second week in December?
Okay, so right now it's a waning crescent, and it's going to become like the new moon, so it's getting smaller right now.
Yes, it's getting smaller.
I honestly know nothing about moons.
You don't?
I don't know much
in the power?
Moon stuff. I totally believe in the moon power, but I don't know anything about phases, and I'm like...
Okay, that's all
There's
right.
not too many to remember. Like, it just goes from waxing to waning and a couple in between. But the one way I remember it is like wax on, wane off. So if it's a waning moon, I know it's like getting smaller, and then, waxing is getting bigger. And it's hilarious that little rhyme really helped me memorize that.
That's so cute.
So it's getting smaller.
Yeah, I do believe in the power of the moon. I feel like we all do. It's all kind of... I mean...
Oh, yeah.
The moon is so powerful. Like, it makes the waves do the things that they do in the ocean. You know what I mean?
Right? It controls the ebb and flow of the waters.
Yes. Yeah.
And even people who aren't, like, into spiritual stuff or they don't think they're into the weird and witchy kind of thing, everyone believes that the full moon makes you crazy. It's just one of those universal things. I love how, like, when normal people start believing that stuff.
Right.
Yeah. We have a family member who, he's, very religious.
Are you talking about my dad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just call him out.
But,
We've talked about him before. He's never going to listen to this, so bring it up.
he plants his seeds. He like helps them grow only at a certain time of the during the moon phases. Like he dictates
cool.
when he plants during the moon phase, and he says if you don't plant during a certain time, then you're just hurting your plant.
Yeah.
So he totally believes in it too, and he doesn't even believe in this witchy stuff.
Yeah, he doesn't believe in witch power at all, but he definitely believes in the phases of the moon.
Yeah.
Moon farming. Well, is that like a farmer thing? Like something in the old almanac, maybe?
I think so. I think so.
It's probably something he picked up. Like, I don't think he would just go to that.
Yeah.
Well, he must have learned it from our grandma. That's the only thing I can think of. That grandma
Are you saying that great grandma is a witch?
Maybe. She's a kitchen witch.
I think she unintentionally does folk magic.
Yeah, she unintentionally does folk magic. I've seen her do it before.
Yeah.
And I will never forget this. There was this one time I had, oh my gosh, Clarissa and
She just
Clarissa
knows
was
things
so little.
sometimes too.
Yeah, and she just knows things.
Oh, yeah. I've heard that she has good intuition. Like, I've heard this
Yeah.
from my mom and my sister. I think that she just knows things.
She has the
It's
best.
crazy intuition.
Yeah, like she knew that my first husband was really bad.
Gosh, that's what my mom told me, that she can look at, like, our dudes and be like, nope. And she just
Yeah.
knows.
Yeah.
So, I wonder what
Yeah.
she
The
thinks
great
about
grandma
this.
test.
Yeah.
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 Oh my gosh. We should start bringing suitors to her. Be like, so,
I need
Clarissa,
to
that's
know.
your advice to you.
Yeah, it's so sweet. But yeah, this one time, okay, I was really sick. I had strep throat, but I didn't have time to go to the doctor. I didn't have time to go get medicine. And Ethan was my son. He was just really small. He was like maybe 4 months old. And so that made Clarissa like a little over 5. I was just, trying to really live my life, and I didn't have time to go to the doctor. And here I am. She calls me and I'm like, Grandma, I have the worst sore throat I've ever had in my life. And she goes, I'm on my way. And she comes over and she brings this. She's like, this is going to taste terrible. She's like, whatever you do, don't swallow it. Just gargle with it and then spit it out. But it was this like some sort of cherry bark liquor. Not liquor, but it was from an herbal store.
Like a licorice, maybe?
Yeah, it was from an herbal store, but it was some sort of, it was something to numb your throat, and it was all made out of herbs. And she's fully into that. And it's just so funny that our family is like that, but they don't believe in witchcraft.
Right.
But they
Well, that's just the
definitely believe in
misconception of
It
people
is.
don't really understand it. But you know
Yeah.
what? I Googled it, and it is a farmer's almanac thing to plant and
Okay.
garden by the moon.
The moon.
And so it says it's like a really ancient practice, and that people who do it, it's actually a really complicated art. So your dad has to be really in tune with the moon, which is awesome.
Oh, that's
and they
awesome
say that
to know.
you know how we talked about how it controls the water, that plays into it.
Yeah.
So the water, when you're planting your plant, is going to be affected by the gravitational pull of the sun and the moon.
Wow,
and so I think they're
nice.
factoring a couple of things. That's cool.
That's so cool. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Learn something new.
Yeah, totally. I didn't know that. I mean, I always knew that he was a good...
Green thumb.
Yeah, he has the greenest thumb I've ever, you and my dad just have this green thumb, and I'm just like, where do you guys get that from?
That
I'm
sounds like
frickin'
maybe you should
around-
hang out with him and start picking up on lunar gardening tips.
Yeah, I'm like freaking around bread and it goes moldy, so...
You're like the opposite of Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
It's just like everyone's starved.
Whatever's the opposite of a green thumb is.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Do we want to pull another topic out, or do we only have time for one?
I think maybe move on to divination. What do
Okay.
y'all think?
Yep,
Yeah.
sounds good. I actually learned a lot about divination. I was like, I don't know anything about it. I don't think I've ever divined. And I remember talking to you, Sharon, about this, and I was like, I've never divined before. And you're like, wait a minute. Yes,
I was
you
like,
have.
whoa. There's so many ways. Yeah.
And it wasn't until I started digging into what divination really was, I was like, oh, okay.
Right. Yeah. That sounds like, oh, you're such a natural witch. You just do these things. Whereas, like, I'm
Yeah.
like the Hermione witch. I gotta Google it and then be like, oh, that's a thing. Let me do it.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what I learned, you guys, about divination is that according to the dictionary, divination is from the Latin word divinare. I'm probably saying that wrong, which means to foresee or to be inspired by God or the divine. And in the old days, it was said that in order to divine, you needed to be an oracle. The idea of an oracle originated in Greece in ancient times, and they believed an oracle could work as a conduit between the divine and everyday people, kind of like a telephone. And that's really interesting to me because, you know, I can totally relate to that. So in most instances, though, these seers would interpret signs and synchronicities. And I also found that divining was considered to be very useful in the olden days, and the oracles were used in everyday life situations, including war. So generals would go to these seers, you know, before it became taboo, so to speak. They would go to these seers and say, hey, look, we're in this war with this other neighboring country or group of people. Could we talk about this a little bit more? And what do you foresee happening? And she would use her powers. You know, we've all seen it in movies where maybe they're reading an egg when it gets cracked open or something like that.
Yeah, I'm always wondering, like, what? How did you get that much information from just, like, throwing bones on the floor?
I know,
Yeah,
right?
reading the tea leaves.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, tea leaves I can kind of get because just, like, being a kid and, like, reading the clouds type of thing.
Oh,
like, you
yeah.
see
Sure,
pictures.
sure. But if you think of divination as getting information from something spiritual, then it kind of makes a little bit more sense because they're not just looking at that. That's just the way that they can see
Interpret,
it. But
I guess.
yeah,
Yeah.
interpret. Yeah. And then I also found out that divination was used in most religions for a very long time, which the way that religions are based now in Western society is that everything is so taboo. And I know that goes back to them trying to control us, you know, trying to control what we're doing, when we're doing it, and that kind of stuff. But anyways, then in the 8th century BC, it was the Christian emperors in Roman times were rulers. And then all of a sudden, divination was considered to be pagan and therefore against the doctrine of God. And some religions kept practicing it, but for the most part, anyone following the doctrine of Christ didn't partake in it because it was against the law. And so they would be punished.
Yeah, I think that is kind of a form of control because, like, if you think about it, people say the Bible is, like, written by prophecy and stuff. It's like you're still believing in divination, but you don't want everyone else to be doing it.
Right. It's so contradictory. Hopefully we'll talk about that a little bit more next week when we're talking
We'll
about...
save that Bible talk.
Yes, we'll talk about that Bible more. But contemporary religions kept using this method to speak with the divine. And I did find out that because of this, there are literally hundreds of ways that one can divine with the spirits. So I wanted to discuss a few of them. One of them is astrology, or what they call astromancy. And I did find out that a lot of these, it's just a word with the word mancy at the end.
Right.
Like M-A-N-C-Y, just in case you guys don't know. And astrology, as we know, is using celestial objects and the movements of those objects to obtain knowledge of the universe. And astrology has been around for thousands of years. So it's really interesting to think about. I mean, they've been doing astrology since the beginning of time. Since they could write, they've been doing astrology. Mm-hmm. So obviously we've been divining since the beginning.
Yeah, and astrology is another, like, one that's misunderstood and has a lot of misrepresentation. Like, people just roll their eyes and kind of judge it because they don't really understand it fully. They're like, ugh,
yeah,
you're one of those people.
And I'm not saying you should read your horoscope every day and live by it, but, you know, be open-minded about all that it has to offer.
I kind of like learning, like, just your birth charts and those kinds of things and like life paths and stuff like that. I think there's something there, but it's really complicated. Like, I have an Astrology for Dummies book and I still, like, still am confused.
Yeah. And then cartomancy, which is using tarot cards to divine with the spirits. So, you know, I mean, we all read tarot. The three of us have all read tarot. So you know what it's like. We all read differently.
Yeah. Once again, I'm more by the book.
And that's okay.
I have to just, like, study the symbols and then kind of go from there. Mm-hmm. Or
and what about
you guys
Clarissa?
get more visions.
It's more impulse, I think. It's more like I do always have to read the books when I do it, but, like, it's more like I'll get a feeling about what the words are actually trying to say.
Yeah. I'm still in that phase where I'm trying to just like read the card based on the symbolism there with intuition first, and then trying to go through the book and then be like, okay, but then how do I apply that to this person and this question? You know, that's kind of like where I'm trying to learn and grow.
Right. That makes sense. Okay, so the next one I came across was Ceromancy. I actually love this one a lot. It's divining by using a candle. And so as the candle burns, the droppings of the wax would be either placed in water or on paper, and then interpretations would be made based on how the wax cooled.
I love it.
That's so cool.
I actually used to practice this one a lot with my sister. This is like...
But hold on.
Oh, go ahead.
Did you think it up yourself, or did you...
I thought it up myself. I didn't know it was a thing.
See, there you are. You're just naturally doing these things. It's so crazy.
I know her and I used to do this. I started doing it when she was little. This candle thing, I've used it in several different ways. I do have this really big giant clamshell that sometimes I use. So I'll drop the wax in there and move the wax around. And for some reason, I can see an image sometimes, or I get a feeling, or someone will talk to me when I'm doing it.
I definitely want to try this. I'm writing that down.
Yes, everybody needs to do it. But yeah, so the interpretations can be based on how the wax is cooled, but it also, you know, what kind of feelings you get at the time, your intuition, what it's telling you. And some people, I did read that some people get visions during this time. It could be just by staring at the fire too. So, which is... Pyromancy, which we have on the list too, which is basically divination by means of fire. And you stare at the flame and interpret what you see, hear, and smell just by staring at the flame. And I've done this before, but not for years. Have you ever done this one?
Oh, I have.
I do watch like my candle flames and try to interpret meanings.
And the last one that I had on my list is lithomancy. This is divination with stones, and it's the interpretation of the divination could be from the lines in the stone, the way it feels, or the way light is reflected from it. So just by staring at the stone, you may get something out of it. I don't know that I've ever done that just by looking at a stone. Maybe feeling a stone, yes.
Do you think it means like if you asked a question about an outcome of something, you like could pick a random stone and then like it would like tell you a story of like how it would?
I think you could. What do you think, Sharon?
Man, I'm all like, I don't know if I could do that. I'd probably just look at the stones and be like, you are hungry. Like, I don't know if I can get visions like that. I think it's going to be something I need to start working on and developing more and trusting my intuition, because I'm, like I said, book heavy.
More like creativity. Like,
which I have, but how do you trust it?
You just gotta, like,
yeah, you
just have to stop like, as hard as that is, because it's so hard. But, like, you just have to just try to get over it. Like, find ways to just avoid second-guessing yourself and just allowing yourself to follow your intuition. And maybe just do it in a place where you feel, like, embarrassed or anything. Like, you're not going to be made a fool of if you're by yourself. Because who are you trying to impress?
Yeah.
So, like, you just got to be by yourself sometimes and, like, try to trust your gut. Even if, like, it turns out to be just something creative. Maybe you just ended up creating a really cool story or a really cool, like, idea for anything.
That's true. That's actually happened to me before. Whenever I do, like, the journaling, like, automatic journaling, I can trust myself in that sense. But I guess I'm just so used to trying to study tarot, trying to study runes, trying to study palmistry. Like, I go by these book methods, so I never allow myself to come up with the meanings or the reasonings. I'm always like going off of what did they say they mean, you know?
Right.
Maybe you should try.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think that ceromancy sounds really fun. That sounds like a cool place to go. But then again, I just want to Google, like, what does it mean when wax goes like this? So,
right. It's more of what does it mean to you when it...
Yeah, what does it mean to you? And that is kind of hard. And I agree that it gets more difficult. I feel like that's where a lot of anxiety comes when you have to perform for someone else, because it's like, what if I'm wrong? Because, like, doing divination for yourself is one thing, because it's just like, I'm not going to be disappointed in myself. Right.
But if I'm, like, trying to predict the future for someone else and they paid me, or they're, like, really counting on me to be accurate, then that's where, like, a lot of anxiety could stem from and not wanting to pursue it.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's nice when you are giving them the information and you're like, I don't know, how is that? And they're like, no, it's so on. And you're like, oh, cool.
Yes.
Yeah, getting the feedback helps so much because they were
Yeah.
just like, I hope I threw that dart, but I don't know if it hit anything.
Right.
Yeah.
But then they're like, no, you actually hit the bullseye.
Right. I do remember I've had a couple of really good instances, like where I've given tarot readings and they're questioning me at the time, and then boom, everything happens one right after the other like a domino effect, and then they're like, oh my gosh, you have to do another reading. And I'm like, no, I'm sorry. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I like
it's
that you
interesting.
guys are all about that intuition.
Yeah.
I would
It's
like,
taken a lot for me, though.
right. It takes a lot of practice, and I feel like it's something that years upon years. Like I've been doing this for, I've been reading tarot for about 17 years, or maybe a little less than that. And it's still hard for me. It's still hard. So not to discourage anybody from doing it, but if you want to do it,
I don't think you're ever done learning, honestly.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
Exactly.
yeah.
Which isn't a bad thing.
No. That's part of the fun. Yeah.
It is a lot of fun just to learn new things.
The biggest draw about witchcraft is like it's not just one thing, it's a branch upon branch upon
Yeah.
branch. Like you can go down so many avenues, and I love
Right.
learning and studying and picking up new skills.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah. So I think we all do scry, and that was one of the main things we wanted to talk about today. I think scrying is so fun, and like it's one of those forms of divination where you get instant results, and that is great. There's no studying involved, I feel like.
Yeah, and
it's
people,
such a simple thing.
right.
I'm one of those people that actually, I have my pendant around my neck. So wherever I am, my pendulum pendant is with me.
Right, which is perfect. It's always getting your energy and building that connection. I guess we should, just in case there's anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about when we say scrying, it's like we're talking about scrying with pendulums, like a crystal hanging from like a rope or whatever. And when you hold it there, you can actually ask it yes or no questions. And just depending on the way it moves, you'll develop what your yes is, what your no is, and other types of ways. But that's like the basic, I guess, description of scrying.
And we could use pop culture in this instance. They used to do it on Charmed all the time. So
Yeah.
if you ever watched Charmed, they were doing it
You
on a
could
map.
find a person.
Yeah, you could find a person. I've never done that.
I've never done it. I think I tried to, but I didn't like really understand what I was just like, you find something.
Yeah.
Who has maps anymore anyway? Like they always had their map of like California.
I mean, if we get into a car, maybe there's a map in there.
Yeah.
I really enjoy scrying though, because I am watching my arm not move. I know that I'm not like intentionally moving it, and I feel like to get it to go in different circles, you'd have to really move your hand around. So it's incredible to see it go from maybe like a back and forth motion to like a circle and then back, just
Without,
depending on your
right.
yeah, without making it do it.
Yeah.
And so when you're divining with your stone, you should make sure to ask it. At least this is what we do. I know Clarissa and I both do the same thing. I ask it, could you please show me yes?
Yeah,
I make sure to
exactly.
say thank you. Could you please show me no? And then say thank you.
Exactly.
Make sure you always say thank you. You want to know how appreciative you are for the help that you're getting. So,
Because it's like this stone is really doing a service for us that, like,
Right.
you know, like,
I totally
you just
agree.
gotta treat people the way you want to be treated.
right.
Yeah.
And Clarissa, I know that you've done scrying for people,
I have.
random people.
Yeah,
that you've
random
never
people.
meet,
Random
that you've never
people
met.
I've never met. Some people, I don't even know their names. I don't know anything about them. They're on anonymous. They just ask me a random question, and I'll answer it. And
This is usually via like the internet,
Tumblr.
right?
Yeah,
Tumblr?
yeah,
Okay.
the internet. And people will just like, hey, can you give me this answer? And then like, I'll do it sometimes for free. Sometimes they'll pay me. And I've always gotten feedback that's like, you're so right, you were accurate. And I'm like, thank you.
That's good. So
Yeah.
do they ask yes, no questions?
They ask, well, some people don't understand the concept.
Right.
So there's been some people who like didn't really grasp it, but then there's been some people, and it's like sometimes like the pendulum won't want to answer because people really want to know who their soulmates are. And
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like, come on, people.
Right? There's so
Yeah.
much more
Right.
There's so much more.
Right.
And I don't mean that in a negative way, but just...
Like, I don't think you could focus on it. Like, it just has to happen.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that you can't really force.
Right.
And I feel like sometimes there's a line.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like something shouldn't be shown to us.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so that would definitely be a crossing the line kind of thing.
Because you might not be in the right place in your life for that person. You might have not met them yet. Like, I just don't think you can force, like you said, you can't force it.
Yeah, but it's just like basic yes or no questions, you know, like, does this person like me? Will I go into college? Or
should I move or
should
change
I
my
move?
job? Yeah.
Should I do this? And then it's all very simple yes or no questions. And I know nothing about them, but my pendulum will answer it, and it's pretty cool. But I don't really have any like cool stories, because it's just pendulums are, to me, like a very simple thing.
They are.
I used it to vote last time.
Oh man.
Yeah. I mean, it was because I was like, I really couldn't choose between these two people, and I was like, I said my instinct is telling me to vote for blah blah blah, is this correct? And it told me yes. So I was like, okay, then I feel like I'm on the good path.
Yeah. I was kind of irresponsible. I was scrying for lotto numbers, Powerball.
Oh my gosh.
I never play that stuff. I probably bought, that's probably the first ticket I've ever bought in my whole life. But I was kind of thinking of it as more of a scrying exercise. I was like, look, I'm not trying to be greedy. I'm not trying to get a whole bunch of money, like maybe like $1,000, but I just kind of want to see if I can get the right numbers.
Yeah.
And so like, I was just using it because that's a way to get results. Yeah, exactly.
That kind of makes me want to do it.
It's kind of fun.
Like,
yeah.
just to see.
Totally,
Like,
totally.
just
to test.
Just to see, not to
Exactly.
take advantage.
No, exactly how I felt. And what was funny is I did the whole bit. I made a chart of paper. And so I think like you could go up to like maybe 70 something was like the max number. So I had to make all these different charts, like 1 through 10, like 11 through this, whatever. And so I was picking the numbers. And I was actually really close on a couple of them, which, because I was weirded out. I was like, why are all my numbers like 30 and under? That just feels wrong. Why would that be that? That's so weird. But then like all of the numbers were like maybe 4 off, 10 off, 1 off. There was one that I was like in the middle of 2 numbers. I have it written down somewhere, but I don't know where it is.
So maybe if you had concentrated more, you would have been able to get a little bit further.
Because I was just going really quick. Like, I wasn't trying to go crazy, but I was like, go with your first instinct, and then don't second guess it, and just keep going.
Ooh, that's good.
So I thought it was really
I always
fun.
second guess myself.
It's so easy to. That's how I was feeling when I was like, why are all these lower numbers? But it wasn't that far off at all. I was quite impressed
It's exactly like being a kid and doing tests, and you get like do a yes or no, or the A
like those
through
Scantrons
D
tests.
Yeah, and then you get like C 3 times in a row, and you're just like, wait a second.
Yeah.
That's not right. Yeah.
Can't possibly be right. Why would they do this to
Yeah.
me?
I should probably just make a puppy dog. Like, that'll be right.
Yeah.
But what's funny was, like, I actually started having anxiety about weaning. I was like, my life's going to be horrible. It's going to change. I'm going to be those people who gets all this money and not know what to do. And I was like, girl, you just need to calm down. Like, that's anxiety for you. And, like, my imagination got so wild. I was like, I won't be able to handle this fortune.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Are you checking to see if she moved?
I'm sorry, I had to look at my little doll to see if she moved.
I can't tell in
I
this
can't
light.
tell.
What's the report?
We're like sitting in the dark. Yeah, like I always record
Okay,
in the
she's
dark.
still turned around.
Yeah.
Come out and play, Wendy.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any other scrying stories?
Nah.
No? Okay, well, let's move on to hypnosis then. So I didn't know hypnosis was also a form of divination, but then just like everything else that
you
we've
didn't
kind of
know
talked
anything about
about,
divination, so
just really didn't know about divination. Apparently I just do it all the time.
I really don't know a lot about hypnosis, so I'm interested to hear your guys' process and how you do this.
Well, I first got into it, I think, probably when I was 17, maybe 16, because I like took a class on it.
Oh, cool.
In high school.
They have class in your high school?
It was like psychology.
And that's a part of it?
Yeah, psychology
Okay.
and hypnosis is part of it because they do these hypnosis things, not to interrupt, but just kind of hypnosis. You can learn how to suppress eating or smoking or, lose weight.
Or how to deal with like traumatic events from the past.
Right.
Interesting skill set. Awesome. So you picked up like how to do it basically?
Yeah, so I picked up how to do it then. And then I just like, it prompted me to want to try it out. And I first tried it out with Ethan, but Ethan was like not a good subject.
Mm-hmm. And Ethan's my son, for those who don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So he's my brother. But then I tried it with my mom.
Who's susceptible to everything.
Yeah, so I was just like...
Open to the experience.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so it gets a little bit crazy because we've done some really good. Mm-hmm. And I think hypnosis for me, just like everything else, is different than hypnosis for everybody else. So like I've done self-hypnosis, but for me it's more like a meditation, and I'm self-hypnotizing myself to kind of figure out what it is that I need to work on in my life. Mm-hmm. And what about...
Which is how I do it sometimes, or like when I'm going back into like the meditation or like guided hypnosis, like I go down to these stairs, like into the depths of my mind.
Mm-hmm. That's a common one I hear in guided meditations, is going up or downstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so for me, though, when she hypnotizes me...
It's very different because it was both different for both of us. I think we were both like... Because you hypnotized me one time as well.
Yes, I've hypnotized you before. And I take you through the stages of your life.
Yeah.
So for me, when I hypnotize someone, I take
Which you took a professional class for.
I did take a professional class on this. So, and I would like to take more. I think that I could potentially do this in my practicing life. Mm-hmm.
It's definitely something like I would try again because it was just a different experience.
You can do me next time I see you guys.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. When you come to visit.
It's very relaxing.
It is. Mm-hmm. And so when I do it, I take you through.
But also nerve-wracking.
Yeah, it can be nerve-wracking because you're remembering things in your life that you may have suppressed.
Plus, you just have to be very open.
Right. And
so how can you walk me through the beginning? So what does the person have to do to get you to that state? And then what's it like when you're in that state?
So when I hypnotize somebody, I have them relax, make sure they're wearing clothing that is relaxing, make them lay back, just like you see in the movies where they're closing their eyes. And
it is actually a lot like the movies.
It
I want to
is.
say.
Okay, that's all I know.
Like,
so
just deep breathing and
relaxing.
Then I
do you
and
use
I'm like,
a pendulum or a metronome?
I don't.
We started off using a pendulum.
Yes, because I thought that's what we needed to do.
It is, and then we just kind of stopped because we did it for quite a while. Mm-hmm. So it was just more like
you didn't need it.
Easier to just to do.
And I think that it depends on the person. So I think that I have a soothing enough voice that I can talk someone back to, because I get this different type of tone in my voice where I'm like, now imagine light traveling up to this part of your body, and then that part of your body is feeling relaxed, and so on and so forth, until you're in a complete relaxed state. That's kind of what I do, is I have you imagine a light going through your body until you're fully relaxed.
Listening to this while driving.
We'll operate heavy machinery.
You need to do this when you're just at home.
Yeah.
Don't do this
at
work.
Please.
Yeah. Don't do it at work or while you're driving. So, and so I imagine this light going through the body, and then I slowly start, now go to this memory, and then I have you go to a recent memory, and then go back to a further memory, to a further memory, to a further memory, until you're back into the womb.
What?
And then I go past that.
Yeah, can you not do that next time, though?
It's a little bit scary.
Birthed, let me tell you, this is a weird experience.
Yeah,
because it was kind of like an experience of like actual kind of like feeling like
you could remember that situation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I walked her through.
That is cruel.
The birth. I walked her into the womb. I walked her back past that to before she was even conceived.
Because we wanted to do a past life regression.
Right.
Okay. And was that successful?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Very successful. So I think that if you want to talk about it, we could a little bit.
Embarrassed.
You're too embarrassed. Okay. But I mean, let's talk about this then. I just walked you through different little memories of your life before we even got back to the birthing stage. And so that part, that's where I think that you can start slipping in and figuring out let's say you have a habit that you cannot stand about yourself. Like for us, it's anxiety, this horrible anxiety. Where does it stem from?
Yeah.
Almost everybody in our family has this horrible anxiety.
It's so weird.
Right. And it stems from something. And we have to pinpoint where that anxiety started in our life. Were we born with it? Did it come from a previous life? Did it come from memories of our family? Did it come from something that happened when we were in the womb? So that's where, when you're into the hypnosis, you can determine, okay, I'm going to help you with this anxiety and we're going to get past it. So you're no longer going to have this holding you back in your life. Or maybe you have eating habits that are not where you want to be at in your life. So we can tailor that while you're in the hypnosis state. I mean, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot to do. Whether you're the person who's hypnotizing or being hypnotized, you have to trust the person that's doing it.
You definitely do have to trust the other person, because it's like you're talking about something that's like within the brain.
Right.
So like all your private brain stuff
can come out to everybody.
I mean, but not really, because you are also in control. So like if you don't want it to come out, it won't come out, because it's
You think
you're
so?
still
Oh, I'm not
still
in control.
Me personally, I'm always still in control.
Right. I have seen her hold back before when I've
I'm
hypnotized
thinking
her.
that's like, you're not ready to fully let go.
Yeah.
Whereas me, I'm just
You
like...
let it go fully, but I keep myself guarded.
So when she hypnotizes me, she talks in a really soothing voice. I usually lay down because I get really drained. This is a draining experience for me.
A lot of energy.
So, yeah, a lot of energy.
I usually have to use a blanket, too, because you get so cold.
Yeah, I get super cold. It's like I go to a different state of
and
a
you have to
different
hold
plane,
something.
and I have to hold something.
You usually have
keep
to
you
ground
grounded?
myself. Yeah, to keep me grounded. So I usually hold a moonstone or something like that to kind of keep me grounded. And she has me go to one specific place. I have this spot that I start at. It's this bathroom.
Safe zone.
It's my
her
safe space.
zone, which is how I learned how to do my
Yes, I have this
hypnosis.
Yes, this is where she learned how to do the hypnosis. So she takes me to this safe space of mine, which happens to be a bathroom that I've never been into in my life.
But it is the same place every single time.
Yes.
A bathroom?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a specific bathroom. And each time that I'm in there, something new happens. Like maybe in the mirror, I'll see images and a lot of times I don't remember it. I would say 98% of the time I don't remember what's going on.
Yeah, so I have to
You relay everything?
record. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you
so
guys
she
record?
either writes it out or we record
sometimes
it.
record it, but it's such a long session that
Yeah, it can be a lot to listen to.
Oh,
but some
really?
of the
So you
things
don't
that-
even bother sometimes? Listening?
A lot of times we just write it down.
because it's just the most important parts.
Right. Because some of the things like
Some of it's funny.
yeah, like, I'm typically a funny person, I like to think, or maybe I'm embellishing that, but like,
You've got an imagination.
yeah, and my humor comes out in that. So like, typically she's told me there's always this little monkey there.
There is a little monkey that's always there.
I don't know why there's a monkey there, but he is hilarious.
It's
and he
like
does funny stuff.
dreamland.
Yeah,
So
it's
he
kind of
talks
like
through
dreamland.
you? Or
No.
you see him?
No,
like,
it's just a little monkey. Like, he helps around, but sometimes he doesn't help around. Like, he sometimes likes to steal things.
is this like an
Yeah.
astral monkey? Like, I'm so...
We don't know. It's just like
I've never
character.
questioned it. I've
Yeah,
never really
kind of just
questioned it.
accepted it was there. I never questioned it either.
It's funny because I was like, like Boots, because in my
Oh
vision,
my god.
yeah, I was like, because in my little,
Because in the first dream the hypnosis that we did, he actually popped out of a backpack.
yeah, he popped out of a backpack, so I was like, Boots, and I'm Dora, or what?
Yeah, but he's been there ever since.
Right.
This
And
is so you guys see him visually.
Well, I don't.
She doesn't. She's just hypnotizing me.
Okay.
But
so-
I can vividly imagine it, though.
But you're describing it, Wendy? You're saying, hey, there's a monkey popping out.
Yeah, because
Okay.
apparently I'm describing.
Yeah.
So she's talking to me. Yeah, she's talking to me and she's asking me questions, or she's saying, tell me what you see, and I just tell her what I see.
Yeah, or what you smell, or what you're feeling.
Right.
But your eyes are closed, or are they open?
My eyes are closed.
Okay. Right.
right?
Yeah, your eyes are
Oh, okay.
closed.
I was like, I think my eyes are closed in my...
But when you're there, it feels like your eyes are open.
Right. And so, and like I said, I do remember going into the bathroom, but a lot of times it's like for me, whereas when I'm hypnotizing someone, it usually takes 5 to 10 minutes for them to go into the hypnosis relaxation state. For me, when I'm being hypnotized, I have to think of that bathroom and then I'm in the hypnosis state.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So,
But it took us a little while to get to that point.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, you guys are honing in on this and really making it better every time.
right. Honing in on this. So what are some things, Clarissa, do you think that we've come across?
Well, we've come across the skin book.
Whoa.
This book made of skin?
Yeah, did you want to talk about that?
I don't really remember a whole lot about it.
That sounds like creepy. Like Evil Dead.
Okay, but is it something you're
Yes,
comfortable?
we can talk about
Okay.
it. Yeah, I'm
So-
I'm an open book on this podcast. So.
I don't know what really sparked it at first. I think maybe
Yeah.
I was just thinking about Hocus Pocus in that book, maybe. But like, it made me want to find a book that would like tell us stories about what's out there. So I was like, let's find a book that tells us what we need to know. And so that's what kind of sparked the first hypnosis.
So was it in my backpack? Was it in my
It
closet?
was-
Because I know
it
there's a closet in
hides.
my bathroom.
See, the monkey one time hid it in the toilet because he didn't want you to find it, and it's made of skin, and it has an eyeball in it, and
So just like,
yeah,
so to me that just signifies
It's just
pop
a book.
culture.
Yeah.
It's just a book.
but the pages are made of skin,
And what is it?
and the pages change each time, and sometimes it just has like important dates. And there was one time a hanging tree with the people on it and like coordinates to that place, but it happened so fast that I could not record it. So I feel awful about that, but it's chill.
Okay. So, I mean, it's just situations like that where I will, apparently in my hypnotic state, probably just like most people, I find
You just go
ordinary
through
things.
You go through the mirror, you
From the
open
bathroom?
the window out to from the bathroom. Yeah, and then you have the closet that's
Oh,
also in
cool.
your...
That's kind of, I think that's a portal.
Yeah, but then there's also a little hole in your closet that looks out to the outside. And sometimes little people call through.
So you think you guys are kind of channeling other realms and planes of existence?
I think so.
She said that there's been a couple of times, like I dropped in on, I don't know if you know what CERN is, CERN. CERN is this place where
A research facility?
a research facility
In,
where
like,
they,
Switzerland or
yeah,
something
in
like that?
Switzerland, and they're doing testing to find. They were doing testing to find the God particle, to do atom smashing. They have this huge, I mean, they just do a lot of testing there. And it's said that there's a lot of alien things going on. But apparently this one time that she had me under hypnosis, something happened. And I'm starting to get chills just thinking about it and getting colds. But there was something that happened there that changed the course of time.
Like time travel.
Yeah. Like something that happened that we tapped into something that we shouldn't have tapped into. And so I guess I kept saying that something happened that they shouldn't have done.
It was like you teleported to CERN. Like, or not teleported, but like astral projected.
Yeah, it's like I astral projected there and I was
And
telling
you
her.
saw people having conversations and like doing tests and
Right. And I was telling her what they
writing
were saying.
science things.
Yeah. I was telling her what they were saying.
I've heard stuff like this before. I think we talked about this last episode, that people have the ability to travel astrally to these places.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, because it seems like whoever's guiding you there, I feel like someone has to be pulling you to these things. They want you to see this.
Yes. And so it's pretty intense.
Well,
Because
that
I'm
which
not-
you seek seeks you.
That's right. That's right. That which you seek seeks you.
And you
Like,
seek aliens.
I do seek aliens and pretty much anything paranormal. And so, like, there was this one time she took me into my past life and she said my voice changed.
That was one we actually recorded. And you
Yeah.
got to
Oh,
hear
that's
it
right.
back.
I did get to hear it back. So I actually started talking in an English accent and I was talking about a fire.
That sounds hilarious. I love it.
I know, right?
Just the accent, not the fire. Sorry.
And so I was talking about a fire and how everybody around me had died. But I think I survived.
Oh my God. Do you have that recording still?
I have it somewhere on a thumb drive. I'm really, really horrible about keeping stuff. So like because I know I've switched phones since then.
Yeah.
So I know that I took all of the information and I put it on a thumb drive and then I lost the thumb drive. So I know that it's here
It's
somewhere.
out there.
It's in my house. I just don't know where in my house it's at. And I'm really bad at that and I apologize.
It's out there. It's just like Bigfoot.
Yeah.
One day we'll find it.
One day we'll find it and I'll be like, oh yeah.
We finally found it.
You'll be so old you'll forget, like, who's this lady talking? So you were kind of
Exactly.
experiencing some past life trauma?
Yeah, I think it was about this fire and everybody around me had died, but I had lived. And I think I may have been like a servant. Mm-hmm. I think that's what we determined, that I think I was a servant.
Or just some lady. You were just
I was just some lady.
some English lady living
Yeah.
her life.
Living my life. And
You like were lost and you kept trying to find something. And you were kind of out of it too.
yeah, because I think I had been in this fire, but I had survived, but the people around me didn't.
Yeah, it was like the immediate after effect of what happened. So you were like out of it because of the traumatic thing that had just happened.
Right.
And so you were like looking for help.
Yeah, I was looking
And you
for...
just didn't know where to go.
Yeah, looking for some help and guidance. It was, I don't remember the situation other than the fact that we recorded it and I was able to listen to it back, but I don't remember.
So do you think that you get a lot of insight from doing these sessions, or just more questions?
More questions,
Yeah,
but
more questions.
some questions have been answered, but like it's like it helps a little bit, but it just pops more questions.
Right. Like I wanted to do hypnosis about finding the Bible. And we did do that, it was going back to that house and finding out what it was that I needed from the house. It turned out it was the Bible that I needed from the house.
And yeah, that's been an interesting journey so far.
And
So
that's been an
Yeah.
interesting journey.
Yeah.
So I'm glad everybody's on this journey with me though, so I can
yeah,
for everybody.
and it's kind of like recorded too. You'll have this kind of memory
Yes.
now. Even better.
Now it's out there. It's just little tidbits every week.
Yeah.
Because that's how it is. So I'm just finding out
Yeah,
more and more.
yeah. Are there any other hypnosis tidbits we should cover?
I definitely encourage people, if they're interested in it, to give it a try. Do research into it first before you actually start doing it. And if you are doing self-hypnosis and you want to record that, then I would record that so that you have it for yourself.
I suggest if you do self-hypnosis, you should treat it like astral projection and keep some kind of protection thing with you.
Yeah.
Just because you don't know what kind of like journey it will take you on.
Right. Right. And definitely if you have seen somebody professionally and had hypnosis done, we would love to hear your stories. So make sure to drop us a line and share
Definitely.
your stories with us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I love hearing personal experiences because it's one thing
Yeah.
to read it from a book, but then when you hear people you know who go through these things, I'm like, okay, I believe this.
Right.
Yeah.
And like I know we have another cousin, she had a horrendous fear of fire. And it turned out that someone in her family had, not in our family, it was from her other side of the family, her paternal side, that there had been a fire. And that trickled down. And I have this feeling, or they're starting to prove this theory that your family's memories and experiences travel down through your genes.
That is so bizarre, and I don't know if I like that.
I know, right?
I'm like,
You're
I don't want
need
your bullshit.
I got my own baggage. I don't need your baggage too.
Yeah, I'm, like, I'm dealing with a lot.
Right.
That's crazy.
And so you have to get to the root of what your problem is. And I think hypnosis and even some of these other divination things can help you find out who you are as a person and help you get through different things in your life.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to explore there, and I'd like to learn more about it and maybe even have a session done myself. So
Yes.
one day.
I bet I could do it. I could do it from far away.
You know what? I bet you guys could do it here.
That'd be interesting.
Or not like here, but like
The way we record for podcast, we could do it.
We should try that
so-
sometime. I'd be down to even record it.
Yeah, me
See what
too.
happens.
Yeah.
I just
Be
imagine
totally
myself
fun.
being passed the F out in this chair and just like not knowing what's
Headphones
happening.
in.
Yeah.
Wayne comes in and he's
Yeah.
like, Sharon, are you okay?
Right? Like, what's going on?
You're like, I'm sorry, I was in the womb.
Yeah. She put me in my mother's womb, damn it. So please don't put me there. Yeah.
I didn't want to be there.
Well, should we wrap up, guys?
Yeah, let's wrap up. I don't have anything else to say. I'm super excited that Clarissa came on the show.
Thank you
It
for
was
having
nice.
me.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us today. It was a lot of fun.
Yes.
Thank you, listeners, for joining us today, and make sure to listen next Wednesday for our discussion on aliens in the Bible. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and check out our blog at cousinscoven.home.blog. We're also on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, and anywhere else podcasts can be found. And send in your cauldron topic ideas, questions, or your paranormal experiences into cousinscoven2@gmail.com, and we'll read them on air.
And may you find happiness in your heart, love for yourself, and joy in each other. Blessings to all.
Piper! The monkey stole my hearing!
He got you too, which means somebody sent that flea-infested primate after us.
Check the Book of Shadows, see what you can find out about evil monkeys and demons who control them.
The power of 3 will set us free. The power of 3 will set us free. The power of 3 will set us free.